Hey guys, Michael from Copy Glass. Android 4.3 Jelly Bean is now out and available for devices here in the UK. I'm going to be running it on a Nexus 4, and today I'm going to be giving you my top 5 features of Android 4.3 Jelly Bean. Okay guys, so the first new thing that we're going to be talking about is the new camera interface. Obviously the Android camera is pretty much one of the easiest out there in terms of just taking pictures as and when you need to, but they have made it a bit easier in terms of how you interact with the camera itself. So obviously as before, you used to kind of tap on the screen, you'd have a circular kind of ring of options that you could change on the camera. Now that it's going to just give you a ring which is going to be just above your finger, so it's a little bit easier, and you can kind of go up through the different menus to get kind of what you need. Slide your finger back down to kind of come down through the menus, or you can press this little circular button just above the actual shutter, and that's going to bring up the menu down the bottom. Now you are still going to have all the same functionality with the camera in terms of video, panorama, photosphere, and also just taking regular photos, but I do think that there is quite a nice addition to this kind of ring that comes across here like so, instead of having the full circular one, because I used to find, I'm not sure about you guys, that when I had my finger on the screen like so, I would be covering up some things underneath. Now you don't really get that anymore because it all is straight above your finger, and like I said, it kind of goes in a grid going upwards to what you need. So I think that this is a really good improvement in terms of just the functionality, and I find it slightly easier than what it used to be in 4.1. Now the next improvement is going to be more of a under the hood improvement. They've improved the graphics capability on Nexus devices, or just in general devices that run 4.3. Now the way they've done that is they've used a new OpenGL source, which makes gaming a lot better for either games that you previously have or new games that are going to be coming out. So if you do have maybe an older device or maybe a slower device, you are going to be able to run those higher end games, and you will definitely see an improvement in the frame rate. So for instance, I'm giving you some examples now of Riptide GP2 and also Real Racing 3. And I'm not sure if you've ever played it on a Nexus or just in general maybe a kind of older per se device, but obviously you are going to see an improvement in terms of the frame rate and also the graphic capability. But it's also going to help with memory as well, so it's not going to eat out of your battery as much as it used to. Obviously the more graphically intense the game, the more it will eat out of your battery. That is completely natural that that will happen, but the new GL source that they use for the graphics definitely helps with battery life in the long run. The next change is definitely more of an under the hood change. There have been vast improvements in terms of Bluetooth connectivity in 4.3. Now what this is going to mean is if you have a low powered Bluetooth device, for instance like a Nike Fuel Band or a Pebble smartwatch, then it is definitely going to help in terms of your battery life, and also just in general the signal between the two, you're not going to get as much cutting out and things like that. Obviously there are the normal kind of upgrades as well in terms of Wi-Fi as well. So obviously if you have had previous issues with a Nexus 4 with Wi-Fi like I have, the 4.3 update will vastly improve that and has actually made mine work, which it didn't do beforehand. One thing that does really frustrate me with Android is the fact that it does not autofill a telephone number in your address book. Now pretty much every other phone does this, even older mobiles from maybe iOS and also Windows Phone, but for some reason Android doesn't. So I've put a mock telephone number in my address book for Copper V Glass, and it's just the numbers basically done backwards. So if I start typing that in now, it's not going to come out of anything at the top to recognise that that is already a number. Now if I press the call button, it's going to recognise it's someone in my phone book and put their name up the top. But what if you are in a hurry and you want to type that number in a bit quicker? There's no way to autofill the telephone number. That's now included with Android 4.3, but is not turned on by default, and I have no idea why. So if you're in your dial pad, all you want to do is go to the settings, and then it's pretty simple, dial pad autocomplete, you want to flick that to on. Then when you go back, I will start typing the exact same number again, and you'll see that it finds it straight away. I can click on that number and it calls it instantly. So it's definitely a really good feature. I'm not like I said, I'm not sure why it has taken so long for them to put it in Android. I'm happy it's there now, and it is definitely a really useful feature. So now we're going to go on to the last feature available for 4.3 that I think does come in real handy. Now unfortunately guys, I can't show you the last feature because it is actually at this moment in time only available on tablets. Now obviously when you first get a Google device, be it an Android, Nexus, Samsung or anything like that, you're going to be able to sign into your Google account, so you can obviously sync contacts, photos and back everything up to the cloud, and obviously autofill photos on things like Google+. Now at the moment you can see that I'm logged into my Nexus phone at the moment. Now the great thing is if you do have a Nexus 7 or a Nexus 10, you're actually available to put multiple profiles onto the tablet. Now what that's going to allow you to do is actually restrict profiles. Now what I mean by that is if you do have one tablet that is used for maybe children and adults in the property or in your house or anything like that, you are want to maybe kind of restrict what the children can or can't use. So obviously if you don't want them to be on Facebook, you don't want them to have access to Google Chrome to be looking at the things they maybe shouldn't, you can actually restrict their profile to only allow them to play, for instance, Angry Birds and Words with Friends and nothing else. Now, like I said, it is a really great feature, and if you do share tablets and things like that in the household, it is definitely going to come in handy instead of having to buy multiple tablets or signing in and out of your actual Google account. So I think that is a really neat feature. Like I say, pretty much the top feature on this list at the moment, just for the fact that a lot of people are going to be able to use it that maybe do want to get a tablet but are worried about restrictions and things like that. Okay guys, so that's pretty much it for my coverage on Android 4.3, which is available now. Like I say, there are some neat features in there. It's not necessarily as big an update as everyone was thinking with Keyline Pi, and it's not really as big an update as what the Apple fans have got with iOS 7. But there are definitely some neat things in there that will help with the performance of maybe older devices, as well as the performance for new and upcoming games and also Bluetooth accessories. I'm Michael from Copper v Glass, and this has been your first look at Android 4.3 Jelly Bean.